voices in our heads now have a frequency. America's first competition talk show. You're in the hub.
That's interesting. Timmy has been very busy on Facebook making friends with all of Alice's friends. Who would want to be pals with a grody jody like Timmy? He has violated Facebook relationship rule number 4. Don't steal other people's friends.
Good day to you and welcome to the Hub. Okay, start out. We got a today in internet etiquette. I have to bring this up because this came up in conversation over the weekend, last weekend. Tagging pictures, tag stalkers on Facebook, where you tag the photo on Facebook and then your friends who are low-life scum go on your Facebook page to find the men or women that they would like to get to know by looking through your photo album and friend them. And you get a bunch of wackos. How do we prevent this kind of atrocity from happening in the digital universe? Chad, have you ever experienced this or heard of someone doing such a thing?
I do know that I have been tagged in a few photos I had to untag. I don't know if
really?
that's yeah.
Tag you're it. Brooke, is this a privacy? This keeps you up at night, that kind of thing? Imagine it would.
No, I mean, but again, Facebook, it's not necessarily one of those venues where I would put everything, your life history out on. It's just like anything in our information age. People have access to just about anything, so you have to be prudent.
It's your digital bio now. It's your digital resume, basically. They're going to background check you on anything. We just made the FBI's job a hell of a lot easier. Michael, you guys, well, you don't anymore, but you look FBI tonight. How would the FBI treat this?
Well, I think that we got enough problems to deal with. We got failed defense in Manhattan with terrorists and other things going on. So, but the only the thing I have a problem with the tagging is some people, they take pictures. Some of them aren't going to be good, Yeah. So you don't put them all on Facebook, okay? So I get tagged these awful pictures with my mouth hanging wide open. I got a problem with that.
Speaking of pictures that don't look good, we've got a woman right now nominated for the Supreme Court who's like a David Mitchell lookalike, a female version. And I've got to bring this up. Elena Kagan has been President Obama's nominee for the Supreme Court. And right now, a lot of Republicans are pointing out on the Senate Judiciary Committee and outside of it that her credentials are rather lacking. And saying things like, her background is 14 months as a U.S. Solicitor General and 2 years as a private lawyer after finishing law school and becoming a dean at Harvard. And I guess the first thing that strikes me is that's the point. How can you get upset with her for not screwing up when she hasn't been around long enough to screw up? This is common sense. Give the woman some slack. Give her a chance to ruin her credentials.
If you're a Solicitor General, you've been around. And second of all, if you are Solicitor General, if you're pleading before any court, your job is advocacy on either side of the issue. It is fundamentally different than exercising, jurisprudence as a judge. So being an advocate and seeing one side and how you can present that to win and to get the court's favor is fundamentally different from being a judge. And if you have not gone that extra step to be a judge, then your first judge job shouldn't be the Supreme Court.
Well, and I've got to bring this up, too, because one of the lines of attack right now that Republicans are gearing up for is coming out of Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions, who's the top Republican on the Judiciary Committee, and he recently said that we're going to tee up the topic of how she handled and how she represented the university system when the decision was made to outlaw the military, the Defense Department, from recruiting on college campuses because of the don't ask, don't tell laws. And Sessions and others are saying this is the line of attack, this is the way we want to go. I don't believe that's the best line of attack at this point, because in an election year, politically speaking, it tees up a lot of just really nasty scenarios. But ultimately, I think there are better things to go at. For example, she's never been a judge.
Yeah, well,
Chad?
We had mentioned this a little bit earlier. The fact is, this is exactly like the Harriet Miers situation. Whenever George Bush put forth Harriet Miers as a nominee, the hue and cry was that, oh, this is just he's putting his person on the bench that he'll always have her ear and no one has any information about her. That's exactly what this is. She was a colleague of President Obama's whenever at University of Chicago. He knows her as well from Harvard. And the thing is, they're pointing to the fact that, well, we need someone that's out of the normal realm of judicial selections, who's not coming straight from the Court of Appeals. But on the other hand, she's still right in the same mold with all the other justices that are up there. She's still a Harvard graduate. I mean, we have all of our justices are Ivy League schooled individuals. We don't have anyone outside of that small realm.
All Catholics or Jews. We need a little more Jesus on the court. Seriously, Brooke. I mean, we got to straighten things up here.
Well, I think that's missing. I think one of the unfortunate things in a situation like this is if you've ever listened to the hearings for when they have the hearings for the approval for the Supreme Court nominees, they go through, pretty much line by line on their decisions. And when you don't have the judge experience and you can't actually read what their rationale is, you really can't get into the heart of someone and into what it is she's going to use and gauge and what is her barometer for things. And so, but then back to Chad's point, I think that is really the point. The point is that there is, and we can now redraw her or draw her in whatever light we want and put her forward as such instead of actually having to look at her actions.
I agree. And I have to retract that last statement. Jesus was a Reformed Jew. He believed in himself. Lee?
I think the point's well made that, and Chad touched on it. They're claiming she's an outsider and doing so by talking about the wrong parameter. They're saying, well, she's not, as I was, not an insider. She's not an insider because she's not a judge. No, she is an insider, and it's because she's gone to all the same schools. She's known all these. She's been tied into the personal networks of the people in the White House. So not only do they emphasize the wrong parameter, but their conclusion is fundamentally flawed. She's not only not an outsider, she is an insider, and it has nothing to do with being on the judiciary. Brooke's point is brilliant too, which is, you're supposed to go up there and talk about your experience leading up to what you would do as a judge based on what you did as a judge. Mm-hmm. She's not a judge, and so she can't speak objectively because she's always been.
But see, here's the thing, and I'll bring this up too. Brought up in an article recently that and this is something Senator Patrick Leahy said. Rehnquist and Earl Warren, they weren't judges either with prior experience. Now, I mean, it shows in the area of Warren Court, but, I mean, Butler case, anyone? But, that is a point people bring up. I mean, there are Supreme Court justices, chief justices, albeit, two of the previous ones in the last decade that were not
I don't think
judges.
I don't think that changes the point of, I think if you're going to have the highest court in the land, you have to have judges at the bench, and that means that you come to the Supreme Court with judge experience. I don't think. I think even though it happened in the past is irrelevant. I don't think it should happen going forward. I think there should be. You should be able to. You should have experience in the job you're going for.
But I mean, we already have case law. Why not just go ahead and extend that, and we can have case existence? It's existed the other way for 100 years.
Right,
but
then it's
we
like
have a new precedent.
But then
last word, Michael.
Last word. Well, politics is politics. This is a strategy. She is an insider, and when we think about things being inside, if I go in a neighborhood and I'm looking at houses on the outside, I don't know what's going on the inside. Well, Barack Obama and other liberals do know what's going on with this nominee. The people on the outside don't know, and we're grasping at straws. And if there's nothing to grasp at, then people are going to bottom line say, well, this person should be approved or put on the court, and that's what I believe liberals are looking at.
Yeah, well, let's hope to God they grasp the role.